Hello and welcome to episode 57 of the Dental Realist podcast. I am Dr. Ryder Waldron. I'm here as usual with Dr. Troy Stevens and Dr. Marcus DeNeff. And tonight I'm going to start with Marcus because Troy needs to vent after this week of dentistry. So Marcus, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing outstanding. Today was a wonderful day of dentistry. I changed lives. It was amazing.
We're happy you actually worked. It's volleyball season again, so you put in a day or a half
first
a
day
week.
I've worked. First day I've worked in like what? Yeah, 5 or 6 days.
Those are the tough ones, though, aren't they? When you come back,
They really are.
Every weekend is like a Memorial Day weekend for Marcus. Just a nice long one.
I hope the listeners caught the sarcasm there because
Yes.
it was a day. It wasn't a fantastic day. It was a day.
Troy, we're here for
Yes.
your support. You've had a rough couple of days this week, so how are you doing right now?
I'm doing better now that I'm talking to you guys. But boy, I tell you, it's been one of those weeks when nothing seems to go right. So we have one assistant that had to go get her gallbladder removed, so she's been out. And then we have another assistant that's expecting a child that is now nauseous, so she can't work. So we got 2 doctors in the office trying to work with 2 assistants, with one lady who kind of comes in, fills in, but she's just not, she can't assist. She can't. We just basically need her doing sterilization, flipping rooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And even at that, it's just like absolutely horrible time being understaffed like that. And you just it makes you want to rip your hair out. You got patients come in, they want the crown done, you want to do the crown, and you just can't do the crown.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You just can't physically do it. You don't have the personnel to do it. And it's absolutely terrible place to be. And it happens more recently than I've got three people on my staff right now that have to go have surgery. The one here and then 2 other ones. I have a hygienist going out next week and my office manager in either August or September for surgery. I'm like, holy smokes. So yeah, just some of that kind of stuff going on. It's kind of making my ulcers kick in really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like you can just grab somebody off the street to sub in for you because, I mean, even if they are an assistant, they might be able to help out a little bit, but they don't know how your office runs and how you like to be assisted. And you're a lefty, so that throws a wrench in things too.
Not very many people know the ways of the left-handed dentist.
It's true. It's true. You are a special kind.
Oh, we are special. So yeah, that's been my last few days in a nutshell.
And I kind of want you to tell the story, if you can, about the open tray impression coping situation that you had.
Yes.
Was that last week?
Yeah, so everything in the whole country and the whole world right now is out of stock.
Yeah.
Can't get anything. Well, so I'm using an Implant Direct, and disclaimer, I don't work for them. I don't care about them, whatever. But I needed an open tray impression. I was doing an implant on number 8, and I'm not real a fan of their the way that their copings are shaped, because it's very difficult to put it into the impression in the right orientation when you're done with the closed tray. So basically I says, okay, I need to get an open tray and do this. So I called the company direct. They are out of stock of their product. And,
Awesome.
I've got a patient waiting for this service that I'm supposed to be providing for them, which is restoring an implant that they've been waiting for, 8-9 months to get a tooth in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And
they're
it's a
not
front
real
tooth.
patient. Yeah, it's a front tooth. They're not real patient. They're excited to get it done. And so instead, I tried to improvise with a closed tray, which, I guess it could be done. It's just not as fun. So I had to core a mile through my impression tray, to get a big old hole in there to get in there. And I had to use a closed tray impression abutment to do this. So I had to stick a piece of cotton swab in the end of it so I could actually get it to stick up high enough out of the impression I can tell where the heck it is, because the way his teeth are positioned, the way the tray is and everything, it was like a mile into the impression material. So I had to goop all that crap out of there.
you stuck the swab into the actual implant. Is that what you're saying?
No, I stuck the swab
Oh,
inside of the screw hole of the impression abutment
oh,
so that
okay.
it stuck out, and I didn't put impression material inside of the screw hole, so
Gotcha.
I didn't get
Okay.
impression in there,
Yeah.
impression material in there. So yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, I did that, improvised. It was an absolute nightmare. The impression was in the tray in his mouth for about 10 minutes because I had to find the little thing, uncover it. I had to remove some of the impression material with my handpiece because when I
Mm-hmm.
got to the abutment, I couldn't get my driver in it because it was so long and down in there, and it hit my handle grip on my
Wow.
driver. So I had to make a nice little driver room in my impression to get my driver into the thing. It
Wow.
was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare, and it really irritated me that they didn't have the proper thing in stock. All this could have been prevented if I'd have been able to get the right thing, you know.
Yeah.
Are
So
you a fan of the show MacGyver, Troy?
Yeah, well, I am the dental MacGyver. I mean, I
apparently so.
heard I just got a
Wow.
basically I just got a little bobby pin and I stuck it down that implant and I got her done, you know,
Wow. And stop the bomb from going off at the same time.
and stopped a bomb.
Take that bobby pin out of your assistant's hair and
Yeah, there are
Wow.
things you can do, you know.
Okay, so well, I want you guys to educate me a little bit because I have used an open tray impression coping one time in my life, and I thought it was a closed tray impression coping. So when I went to take that thing out of when I went to take the impression out, it didn't come out. It was locked in there, like vice grips were around it. And so then I had to drill through the tray. I had to drill all this out. The patient acted like I was torturing her, which I probably was. Um, what's the benefit of using an open tray impression coping over a closed tray? Because I've pretty much gone all closed tray impression copings at this point.
Yeah,
You
I
guys have
have
any
too.
idea?
Yeah, I do know. I know why, but at least my
Okay, educate us.
understanding of why. The closed tray impression is probably prone to more error because you can basically, depending on how when you take the abutment off and snap it back into the impression, that's where you get your error, right? If it doesn't snap in. However, I have
Okay.
found the Zimmers, the Nobel, these implants snap in absolutely perfect every time for me. I just have no problem with the orientation. The implant direct,
Yeah.
don't even get me started. That's why I wanted this open tray. But
Okay.
anyway, that's
Okay.
just me personally, you know, and I know that
Yeah.
you've got all the prosthodontists out there listening, calling us names and whatever. But the open tray, the open tray is benefit is you don't have to worry about that alignment because you don't ever take it out of the impression; it stays in the
Okay.
impression.
Yeah, that
So
makes
it's
sense.
perfect alignment. So that's
Okay.
just supposed to introduce less error.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Less air and more heartache and stress.
Yep. And if the company has them in stock, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Is have you
Good.
guys heard of Harbor Freight?
Of yes, I have. Yeah, hardware store. Kind of. They got a little bit of everything
Yeah,
there. Is that it? Yeah.
Direct is the Harbor Freight of dentistry.
There you go, man.
Uh,
There you
yeah,
go.
I've used those a little bit, and I don't like them either, Troy. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like Nobel and like Straumann and Zimmer. It just feels like a
Yes,
higher quality product to me.
absolutely. Strawman, yeah, Zimmer, Nobel. I've had no problem with those three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the
Excellent.
name brand maybe is worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And with those impression copings and stuff and the analogs, you can use those suckers over and over. So, might have to invest in a few of them, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, well, the
I feel
implant direct, let me tell you what happened here. When I had the first impression, the reason I had to redo the second one to do it again is because my orientation was off when I put it in the impression. And then when we got the crown back, of course, it didn't fit. So
wow.
I called the lab and I says, can I get that impression abutment back? I got to retake this impression. He says, oh, we use that as part of the abutment. So they actually had to, that's why I had to order another thing because
Mm,
they use that part for part of the abutment that goes in the crown. Where I don't believe they do. I don't know Bell and them. They don't use that because that is not the
no.
piece that I send them. Nobel and
No,
Zimmer and Straumann.
no. I send them that impression copy and I send them an analog and then they send both of them back to me.
Yes, exactly. But for
Sterilize
some
them, bring
reason,
it in.
implant
Mm.
direct. But I'm at the
Well,
mercy of my surgeon
yeah.
because basically, I don't place them anymore. And
Yeah.
so I need to just be better, maybe talking to him and saying, hey, can you not do those because they're just not as great, easy as to restore.
Yeah. Amen. Amen, Dr. Stevens.
Well, thank you.
Well,
That's
let me,
just my opinion.
yeah. Yeah, don't send the legal department after us, Implant
Correct.
Direct, because we
Well,
don't
no,
have any
because
money here on the show anyway. It doesn't matter.
correct.
Um, let let me ask you guys this, a little different topic at first, or to secondly here. Do you guys have a favorite flavor of ice cream? I don't know if we've ever talked about that, but do you guys have like a favorite flavor or brand of ice cream? Marcus, I know, is an aficionado of ice cream. He likes a good
I
shake. We
do
used to
have
go
a
to
favorite.
lunch. Yeah, we used to go to lunch in dental school, and instead of getting a drink, he would get a shake at lunch. Change it up. So, all right, Marcus, what's your
And it's
favorite?
like 40 pounds in dental school.
We all
That's why at
that was
graduation we had to
that was
put him on a
because of
gurney to get
stress
him
too. I
down.
think the stress didn't help.
Yeah, the stress didn't help.
I remember
Oh
saying in
man.
dental school, someday I wanted to see north of 200 pounds, and I
Yeah, I
actually
do
did
remember you
manage.
saying that.
Brought myself back down with some some weight loss, but Anyway, get back
Not
to your
good.
question on ice cream. I think you guys, I don't know, you may be surprised to find out what flavor is my favorite, but
Uh,
bubblegum ice cream.
really? With
Wow.
the hard bubble gum in it, or just the flavor of bubble gum?
The pieces of bubblegum in it, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning all kinds of things here. Um,
That's
yeah, I
very
like the
interesting. Usually
flavor. I don't like
that's
those
a
hard pieces.
child.
I don't like a frozen piece of gum. You're gonna break a tooth on that.
Well, you save them.
Oh,
As you get them, you save them, and then you take that big
wow.
that big thing of
Wow.
all those pieces and just chew them all at once. This big wad of gum.
Oh, oh my word. Okay. Oh, Troy, please tell me you're the adult in the room and you don't like bubblegum ice cream, but
Yeah.
whatever.
No, I think my favorite would probably be like salted caramel pecan.
Oh, wow. Oh, really?
There's one I don't
That
remember
sounds
the
good.
brand of it, but my wife gets it and it's absolutely delicious.
Okay, you had me at salted caramel, then you added that pecan in there, and I don't like nuts in my ice cream. I don't I
Yeah.
you know I don't know why. I think as far as ice cream makes a chocolate marshmallow, and I always am really kind of fond of that. But I don't know why I've been thinking of ice cream, so I thought I'd ask you guys what kind of ice cream you like to eat. It's
There you
getting to be
go.
summertime and all that, so maybe give our listeners something to. Maybe they're eating ice cream while they're listening to us. I don't know. Um, all right, let me ask you guys this. I read something in Dental Town magazine this week, and Howard Ferron at the start of at the front of the magazine usually has like a little 1 or 2 page article, and I can't remember what the topic of the article was, but I remember him saying something to the effect of, "Why would you pay like $1,400 to go to a TMJ class when you only treat like 1% of your cases as TMJ, or only about 1% of your patients have TMJ that you would treat, something like that." Um, I thought that made a lot of sense, and I'm glad that he said that, because sometimes as dentists we feel like we need to be providing all manner of treatment, every type of service. We've got to just be experts in everything, and if we have to refer out or say we don't know, then we feel like a failure. So, how do you guys or how do you guys decide what kind of CE courses to take and what kind of treatments and services to offer in your practice that you may not have offered previously?
Hmm.
That is a good question, and I'm gonna have to default back to prior to where I work now
Okay.
because honestly, where I work now, the community health center, we've got some pretty basic services that we're going to provide over and over. We're not looking to get into the implants. We're not going to start treating TMJ and that kind of stuff. But in private practice, I have to admit, early on, I was probably swayed a lot by just some of those throwaway magazines you get. I'd thumb through those things and I'd read and I'd see, oh, that looks really cool. That sounds good. And so probably a little bit of marketing started to sway some of the things I would do. But
Yep.
before I left private practice, I was getting a little more picky. I would try to think about, okay, how would this fit into my practice? Is there actually do I actually have patients that would have asked about this or are looking for it or want it? Is this going to make me more competitive with the people the dentist in my area? That kind of stuff. Those are some of the questions I would start to ask myself.
Troy, what about you? You've added some stuff and you've stopped doing some stuff like implants. How do you decide
Mhm.
what you want to offer or stop offering or, things like that?
Well, that in my demographic, and of course, what I started out this podcast with my difficulty with staff and whatnot. That's why we stopped doing implants, to be honest with you, is because of cost to train our staff was just overweighing the amount. We have a lot of turnover because of the military base we have here. So
Hmm.
if we have a bunch of assistants that their husbands are in the Air Force and they call us and they say, hey, guess what? I just got orders and we're out of here. And thank you. We just spent, several $1,000s on training you.
Yeah.
And so it got to be a pain in the, what, to just keep training folks over and over and over and over and over. And in probably a more than you would in a normal area that maybe isn't affected by people moving in and out of the area a lot, where that's a problem with this area. So that's what we stopped doing it because of cost. It was just too cost prohibitive. And we were just constantly having to train somebody, send somebody to training, and then, they would move and we're like, oh, good, I'm glad we trained them. So yeah, that's the reason why we stopped. But, we are at a nuts and bolts place. And it's interesting you mentioned I've spent a lot of money on like sleep apnea stuff and traveling to courses and stuff like that. And I still don't do it in the office. I talk to people about it, screen for it, just in my own head. I don't actually physically write down a form, but I will tell them, contact your physician or whatever if you need to do something. But I've just never taken the time to sit and implement it. But,
Yeah.
I guess it's good for my education, for my knowledge to kind of be aware of it and try and direct the people to where they can go. Someday I would like to be able to do more of it, but I just haven't. So I don't know. Those are a couple things that we've tried in our office. But
Yeah, I've done, like some molar endo and stuff like that because I've had patients say, well, I don't want to go somewhere else and this and that. So I thought, okay, well, I'll try to do some of these molar endos. And then what I noticed is it would take, a couple of hour-and-a-half appointments or a couple of 2-hour appointments. And, once the insurance is paid and everything, you're not making a lot of money. And you may not even have done it may not have done as good a job as the specialist would have that's right down the road. I mean, I live in a, pretty populated area. There's a ton of endodontists and whatever around. So it's not like I have to do it. But for some reason, people don't like to go to their offices, even though they're getting better treatment. So, but I haven't done that. I didn't have any fail that I can think of, but I just didn't enjoy the pressure of always hoping that it was going to be successful. And then if it fails, then it's kind of a different conversation sent into the specialist then to, admit you either messed it up or, something. So, yeah, but I felt a lot of pressure from, like Marcus said, some of those throwaway magazines that come and they make you feel like they're good at their marketing. They make you feel like every other dentist is doing some sort of treatment or offering same day crowns, and if you're not, you're behind and it just is a little too much pressure. So I think, going to some of these courses, like Troy said, to kind of know about it for your own, knowledge, and then knowing what you shouldn't be doing or knowing what you enjoy and knowing what to refer out is kind of important too. So, yeah, I don't know that that I have a great answer. It's just kind of what I enjoy doing, and I don't enjoy doing some things. And yeah, anyway, I don't know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I thought that was kind of an interesting comment that Howard Farron had made. Um, let's talk about some of the ways you guys cope with stress during the day at the office. So Troy he's had a rough one this last week. And are there any things you guys do during the day, like every day at work, that if you're getting stressed out, you do to kind of take the edge off a little bit? Marcus, is there anything you can think of that helps you with that?
Well, one of the things, I've been doing this for a while, is I'd actually take a nap. Not
Oh,
like
yeah.
during working hours, but during the lunch hour, I that time is sacred to me, and I will
Yeah.
go and I'll put my phone on silent. I'll go out to my car and I'll freaking take a nap.
Yeah, I like it.
And even if it's just like 30 minutes, it's just like disconnecting and
Yeah.
like that's helpful for me. That's probably the most consistent, biggest thing I've done for. I guess I'm coming up on about 8 or 9 years of that.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I have actually started the nap thing lately too. Probably in the last year, I figured out like I would eat lunch and I'd be done eating by like 1:30 or something like that. Then I just sit there and like, what am I gonna do now? Well, I figured out I can shut the door to my office. It makes it nice and dark. I have another little folding chair and I put that up and I can kick back in my chair and I can sleep for, like 20 minutes and it's just like a quick nap. But yeah, same as you, Marcus. I love it and it does help you. And yeah, that is a sacred time during the day. Troy, what about you? Anything to help you cope with the stress of the past week?
You know what? I take a nap every single day at lunch.
Wow, napping.
Um, yeah, I'm grateful. I actually can come home. I can come home and actually get lunch here and take a little nap.
Yeah,
And I like Marcus said, man, I consider my lunchtime as my sacred time. It's my decompression time,
yeah,
and just come home, take a quick, eat something, take a quick power nap, and then boom, I'm back at it. And I feel like that kind of rejuvenates because you kind of need that. That's the only thing I do really to de-stress. There's nothing else I can actually do during the day because you're just getting always constantly bombarded with stuff, it seems like.
yeah. I always thought it was kind of weird when people would say they take a power nap during the day, and then my father-in-law, he would, when he was working, he would walk home from the office. He could walk, and he'd eat lunch and take a nap like every day. And I thought that's odd. But then I thought maybe he's onto something. And one day I did it, and it's like this is awesome. And
Yep.
yeah, it does rejuvenate you, and it does seem to take the stress away. And I hear of a lot of offices that work through lunchtime. They want to get that extra production in. They like the high volume setting, and I don't. I like that, like Marcus said, that lunchtime is sacred time, and it feels nice just to kind of decompress and take some time out of the day that you don't have to be answering questions or treating patients or yeah, things like that. So,
Yeah,
you
for
guys have any
sure. I
other?
mean, just definitely helps.
Yeah, do you guys have any other suggestions for some of our listeners to help kind of de-stress during the stressful dental day?
Well, I have found that it's interesting that you mentioned like stress, and I think we probably mentioned this before, is that the older I'm getting, the less I can deal with stress, it seems. It just seems like I get stressed about stuff that I never would have really got stressed about anymore. Again, before. And I
Hmm.
don't know why. I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly why. It's just like it just drives me crazy. Some of the stuff like the staffing issues and the something doesn't go right. My bookkeeper's not doing something right that I need to. Seems like I'm always trying to hold her hand, trying to get her to understand what we're talking about, and I'm just like, wow, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's just like you. Even when we had Howard on, he says that
Yeah.
he practiced for 40 years, and he says he never didn't feel stressed. Just
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
felt it.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true because I get a little more stressed out nowadays too. And I feel like as we get older, we should be able to handle it better. But to me, I think I'm, I don't know if it's that I'm just a little more impatient. And if I have like a rude patient or something like that, I want to get them out and I don't try to coddle them anymore, things like that. I don't know if it's, knowing when to give up on a procedure or when to refer or knowing that it's not going to work out. I don't know. I know a few years ago, this is probably 10 or 12 years ago, when I was in between patients, I would just sit there and read like magazines and stuff like that. It's like, oh, this isn't very enjoyable. And I finally got like a little radio to put in my office. And this is before like I'd bring a laptop or anything to work. And I listened to sports radio. And it just like kind of took my mind off things when I wasn't doing dentistry. And now I do that every day. And it does help. I mean, you know, listening to sports is just mindless stuff. And so that kind of helps too. So
There
Marcus, do
you
you
go.
have any other suggestions for our listeners of ways to kind of de-stress during the middle of the day? We're all nappers. That must either mean we're old or we've gotten smart in our older age. But and I had mentioned, sports radio. I like to listen to that during the day. But is there anything else that you like to do during the day to kind of de-stress from dentistry, even while you're in the middle of it?
It's probably going to sound really weird. This is stuff that I probably would have like laughed at if somebody told me before, but I have really, breathing techniques and
Mm,
even meditation. Like, I know it sounds kooky. I know it sounds strange, but it actually works for me. Just some simple breathing techniques, even the little breathe app on your phone, on your Apple Watch, if you have one, if you're actually up to date on technology, like
yeah, I'm
most
not.
with their watches, right?
I
But
have a watch that tells time and it has a battery in it, and that's all I need. It's just a timepiece, Marcus. It's just a timepiece. But apparently, it's helping you with some de-stressing, so maybe I
yes.
should consider it.
See, so yeah, no, seriously though, like, you know, I do practice meditation in the morning, usually for
Nice.
about 10 minutes before I go into work, and
Huh.
and occasionally during the day I'll do some deep breathing stuff, if nobody's around, because man, it sounds a little weird when you're sitting there,
Huffing and
people
puffing.
wondering what you're doing.
We don't need any of that at the office. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've heard that does help a lot of people. I've never really meditated much, but I have, like, the breathing thing. I have done that. I had somebody and that does seem to help. It feels like you're just kind of like, I don't know what it is, like recentering your body. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is, but it does
yeah.
help. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. I say anything that can help you get through a dental day. It doesn't matter how weird it sounds. I I just say you do what you need to do.
Sometimes I'll go lock myself in the room and put the nitrous on my nose. No, I'm joking.
Yes, there you go.
Some deep breathing with the nitrous.
We do not recommend that.
Sometimes, you got the staff coming in or patients all the time, that need something. Sometimes I'll just close my office door and just like have a minute of peace. And usually if I have my office door closed, that means, do not come in or I'm on the phone or something like that. And I used to feel like kind of selfish doing that. Like, well, what if they need me? Or like, okay, there's very few times in the dental office where it's like this huge emergency that you're needed right then. So I've tried just closing the door and just like sitting there for a few minutes, and it seems to help a little bit. I don't know. Anything
Yeah,
to just kind of
sometimes I'll,
separate.
I'll close the door, turn off the lights, crawl under my desk, suck my thumb, fetal
Curl in the
position.
fetal position.
Mhm.
You find
It's the only way
happy
to
place.
cope. It's the only way to cope.
Oh, well, guys, maybe we can wrap it up right there now that Marcus is curling up right now as we record into the fetal position.
There you
Do you
go.
guys have any more nuggets to add? Troy, you got anything else to add before we call it an episode here?
I think we're doing pretty well. Just kind of one of those things, typical dental stuff, and hopefully we can get some more feedback from our listeners on maybe what they want to hear in future episodes. Um, Times are changing in dentistry, and we just want to make sure we get the best information out there to help whoever's listening.
Yeah, that's a good idea because it's going to be summertime. Marcus is hopefully not going to be on the road as much. We're going to have him available more. I mean, we just like to blame everything on Marcus. It's really not just him, but just more
That's
fun that
right.
way. Do you have anything else to add, Marcus, before we sign off here?
No, we appreciate all of our listeners, and we want you to know we have a couple of fantastic books. I think they're New York Times bestsellers last time I
Well,
checked.
only in our minds, but that's good enough. That's good enough for me.
Maybe the Blackfoot Morning News bestsellers. How about that?
Yes, yes. How about that? I think that's right.
Yep.
So we do have a couple of books. So you want to be a dentist, and so now you're a dentist. Both excellent and quick reads, but packed full of good information. So do check those out. We also have, you can connect to us on dentalrealist@gmail.com. Send us an email. We love to hear from you. Um, we also are on all the social media platforms. You can check us out there and connect with us there. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we really appreciate everyone listening. And like Marcus said, if you have any topics you want to throw at us, we're happy to do it. And we'll have some more guests on coming up in the future. So we appreciate you listening. This has been episode 57 of the Dental Realist Podcast, and we will talk to you on episode 58. Thanks.